trying to teach them all lessons. Yeah. Whoa. Hoop dreams trying to make it to the league. I'm a young Mike Jordan.
This week's
balling out
episode
Jeff
of Hardwood
Teague.
Confessions, your weekly hoop confessional, where we speak to hoopers and sports professional in the industry alike to speak their truth. My name is Tay, and I am your host. And today we have our special guest, Kevin Tarca. How's it going today, brother?
What's up, man? Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you. So, man, so just give you real quick on Kev, man. We go back some years and we got a chance to work together for a little bit. And, man, I'll tell you, he's one of the hardest workers I know in the industry, very persistent, very detail-oriented. And those of you who are listening that don't know, he is a certified NBA and FIBA agent, specifically in basketball. Well, obviously, but yeah, man. So where are you from?
I'm from right outside of Princeton, New Jersey. So went to high school at a school called Montgomery, New Jersey. So a public school in Central Jersey, about an hour from Philly and an hour from New York City.
Nice. And so from my understanding, you actually play a little basketball yourself at a very high level in high school and transitioned to 4 years of college and I don't want to butcher the name, but I think it's Quinnipiac University.
Quinnipiac, close.
Quinnipiac,
no
okay,
worries, man.
Go.
It's a tough one to pronounce.
Yeah. Spent 4 years there, and so how did this kind of all start?
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. I like to consider myself a high level player, but I don't know if that really, is the exact defining word for my high school career. But no, I had an awesome upbringing, and played public basketball in Jersey. So obviously there are a lot of good teams in Jersey, and was able to experience a little bit of success at our public school, and always just knew I wanted to play in college. So on the recruiting trail, it wasn't too crazy, to be honest. It was a lot of there was a lot of small local like Division III schools that were kind of interested in me, and rightfully so. I was a 5'10" at best point guard who didn't really start scoring until my senior year. But no, it was a lot of fun, and I visited a lot of these Division III schools, and it just really wasn't for me. I'll never forget visiting some of them, and I won't name them, out in the upstate New York or the middle of Pennsylvania, and coach walking me through like the high school gym that was smaller than my high school gym, and the most popular major at the school was like equestrian studies, and it's like it's not really for me. So I kind of bet on myself and invested in myself, took that chance to walk on at Quinnipiac, and it was it all panned out pretty well.
Yeah. So which kind of seems to be the theme of the career that I've been following you is you kind of bet on yourself, and so I love it. So I mean, speaking on to you getting a chance to play college and betting on yourself. I mean, a lot of people don't get to go through that process and experience that, whatever, whether you're playing big minutes or not, at a D1 level. So that's amazing to speak to. So let me ask you a question. Where did it all kind of get started? I mean, who introduced the ball to you, or was it an athlete, NBA guy you saw on TV, or parent, or,
Yeah, nothing crazy here. I mean, it was just my parents. I just kind of had the opportunity to play at the rec center or local travel basketball. I actually never really started watching the NBA until end to after of my college career, which is crazy, right?
Wow.
I mean, of course I watched it, and I in Jersey grew up when Jason Kidd was in the Nets, and you had all the NBA All-Stars and all that. So I watched it, but I was never really like hey, I'm gonna sit down, study the game, watch this film, and like know what I'm talking about. Not that I necessarily do now, but I never really just loved watching either college or NBA basketball until basically after my college career was over. I was just loved playing the game.
Nice. So you're just wrapped in actually playing, and so which was going to lead me to my next question, and maybe you can speak to it now with hindsight. But what player do you think kind of resembles your game, or somebody that you kind of, now that you can look back, you could say you kind of had your game similar to?
I mean, I definitely have a couple favorite players or players that I mimic my game off of, but J Kid's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
But I used to watch YouTube videos of Jason Williams all the time,
Oh
and
yeah.
actually
Right.
both the black Jay Williams and the white Jay Williams, but the white
Right.
Jay Williams, the white chocolate version of
Right.
his
Right.
YouTube
Right.
videos with his crazy passes and his no look around the back passes.
Right. Right. Right.
That's what I kind of used to mimic my game off at the park.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I kind of found myself doing this, doing the same, man. Those are two great guards. And Jay Wood, as you mentioned, he's another amazing guard that unfortunately had his career cut short off of a
Right.
motorcycle accident. But man, yo, those are two, well, actually three great players that that couldn't, well, not say Hall of Fame, but I mean, in their own rights,
Yeah, yeah. I actually saw recently that Jason Williams, the white Jason Williams, maybe it was like last year or 2 years ago, a
Mhm.
YouTube video popped up of him like recently playing with his son and just cooking these dudes still at
Right.
open
I saw
gyms.
that one. Yeah.
And the other Jay Williams, I mean, I've found a much deeper respect for his story in his game recently with all the analyst and
Right.
basketball IQ that
Right.
he has and all the feedback that he shares on his Instagram and on TV, because he's obviously experienced it, but he's been able to kind of find that coaching aspect too from the outside, which is not easy to do.
Right. Right. No, yeah, he definitely did it at a very high level at Duke and graduated in 3 years. So he very high IQ, like you mentioned,
Hmm.
and I mean he knows the game. Uh, and there's a few videos that I've watched of him where he talked about, before he played Kobe and he wanted to warm up, and kind of get, ready for the game. And Kobe walked in and saw him warming up, and Kobe literally was there until he left to make sure, because he did not want him
Hmm.
to know that he outworked him, and so
Hmm. Hmm.
he was just a hard work and a testament to, kind of what he was a player. But yeah, that's interesting. Which kind of leads me to my next question. As you kind of navigated through high school and then college and found yourself that, okay, look, I love the game of basketball, I'm sure. Now that you started watching NBA, now you wanted to take it to the next level in your career. And so what did that look like for you, the transition, and kind of what you do now?
The transition didn't really happen till late. It was really the end of my senior year when it kind of kicked in that, oh shit, this is going to be real life soon, right? So
Right.
so that was when I kind of started to figure out, all right, what do I want to do? And at that point, I had luckily realized what I do want to make sure I do is wake up every day and love what I do, or have a passion for what I do. And I think I learned that through some of the internships that I experienced in accounting and finance, that the 9 to 5 thing isn't for me.
Right.
So then I started again, kind of throwing darts at the board. Like, hey, I love basketball. I love finance. I love business. I'm a people person. How can I combine them?
For
And
sure.
that's what really planted that seed of potentially becoming an agent in my mind. Of watching the movie of Jerry Maguire, like, oh, that sounds awesome. I had absolutely no
Right.
idea what that truly meant, but it looked cool, right?
Right.
And then my first kind of job out of school was at a sports marketing firm. So it was more event management and sponsorship sales and learning the business side and relationships with athletic directors and coaches.
Right.
And then that transition kind of back in 2016. 2015 to talent management and really jumping into the agent side and kind of just learning ever since.
Yeah. So okay, so you had a pretty after you figured it out, it was pretty smooth. I mean, you knew what you wanted. You aligned yourself with who you are as a person, and you found out that sports agency was the thing for you. And so, man, I've actually seen you from the distance, and I've seen the things you've done. You've got a chance to travel, meet a lot of people, and navigated your way through this sports industry, which is a tough industry to get into. So hats off to you to kind of to jump into it and do it and go all in, man, and be doing it for the amount of years that you have been doing it.
Yeah, I
So
appreciate it, man.
yeah, for sure. So Kev, look, we got a segment as part of the show. It's called the Hooper's Confessional. where I ask you a series of questions and you'll get a chance to speak your truth. And this segment is sponsored by Blackwater. Blackwater has a power of a sports drink while keeping its purity of water. And so you can get 20% off your order by clicking the link in the description below. So, yeah. All right. So as it pertains to your childhood sports experience and where you find yourself today, what does the basketball, or what has the basketball meant to you?
So it's kind of a loaded question. I think everyone can really start off with their own basketball is everything to me story, and
Right.
rightfully so. But for me personally, basketball has really been a tool that I've used to open doors for other things in life.
Okay.
Playing basketball has been fantastic. Coaching basketball, watching basketball, being involved in basketball, it's amazing. But all those pieces together, basketball as a whole, as a sport, it's just the industry and business of basketball has really allowed me to build the relationships with people and experience things that are going to open doors for many other things. No matter however long this lasts, of me being an agent, same thing that I tell my guys. No matter how long that ball keeps dribbling, and whether you ever get paid for it or you get paid for 20 years for it,
Right.
the ball's eventually going to stop bouncing in some aspect.
Right.
Which means while that ball was bouncing, what doors have you opened to, take that stepping stone to other things in life? So for me, again, during AAU, it was that door opening to experience of different, diversity and culture. And,
Right.
during high school, it was that door opening to being recruited and like, wow, basketball is more than just high school and more than just the game here. And during college, just the door opening to the level of talent in this world at a, small to mid-major school, just opening my eyes on how talented guys really are. And then,
Right.
after college, just the doors opening to being able to visit 34 countries and counting and experience different cultures. And, so again, for me, it's been the tool that I've used in various different aspects to open up other doors in life.
Right. Right. And that's amazing and very well stated. Cause, just again, I follow you, brother. And what I've seen for you is that, man, like you said, 34 countries, which I didn't even know was the number. I knew it was high. I didn't know that was a number.
It's getting up there.
Yeah. So can you imagine, a 9-10-year-old in New Jersey, like 20 years, something later, that basketball would have had you traveling 34 countries?
No,
It's
definitely not, man. And again, there's other ways to do that, but when it boils down to it, the reason is basketball. It's the industry, and the business of basketball.
Yeah. And so share with me a memorable moment you've had through now that you said your travels and moving from country to country. I assume it's majority of it's Europe because you're a FIBA certified agent. So yeah, I want to speak to that.
Oh man, I got stories for days, memorable moments, but I would say a couple that stick out the most for me are really signing that first client. Like that was the first moment. So that was here. I was here in the States. So that was actually not too long after we met. In 2017, I believe it was, right? 2017 was when that first event was.
Yeah.
Or was it 2018? Spring 2018. Either way, and now the years are just blending together.
Right.
But yeah, so signing that first client and getting that phone call, like, hey, I trust you, Kev, and I'm all on board. And that was CJ Rivers. So, got a special spot in my heart for him. And actually, ironically, to what I said before, he's the perfect textbook example of that. He played. It took a while to get him his first job, but he battled through it, and he played over in Australia, and it was amazing. And before he can get that next contract, he had a decision to make to accept a coaching role, which he ended up doing, and he took that spot at Colorado State as a grad assistant, and has been doing amazing things since then. He's going into his second full year now of that. So that was a very memorable moment for me. And then in regards to like the travel stuff, man, like I got stories for days. Just even being and you've experienced this, in Europe and in China, but being in that first game. The first real like EuroLeague game where people don't sit down. Like people don't sit down, like sitting in Pioneer Hall in Belgrade, Serbia, just watching people and the passion that they have, just screaming.
Right.
They don't even care who they're screaming at.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear for 2 days after that game because of how loud it was. And it was just, it was unbelievable to see the passion that Europeans have for their game and, the chants that they do. And, college basketball, high school basketball, NBA basketball, quite frankly, doesn't even compare to those type of games.
I'm sure.
So,
Wow. That's amazing. So, kind of, let me ask you another question as it pertains to being an agent and stuff like that. And maybe something that you could speak to, a false reality of being an agent or expectation. What is
big
that?
Time, man. Man, you got about 2 weeks on your calendar because we can start going now. I'm glad you asked that. I'm pretty much done uploading my course because I'm coming out with a course that speaks basically to this.
Nice.
Both on the agent side and the player side, because as you know, there's so many false realities of being a pro and being an agent, right?
Yeah.
So, people think of, hey, being an agent, and it was like, I mean, rightfully so. It was like I thought being Jerry Maguire was when I was a senior in college. Like, this is awesome, man. And they go to cool parties, and they work hard, they work late nights, but then they get front row tickets to the game, and they have multi-million-dollar contracts. They drive nice cars. And wow, is it so far from that? Of course there are perks to being an agent, and you get to go to some games, and hopefully at the end of the day you make some money, but it's just few and far in between that do that and that are very sustainable. So, being an agent, it's not all peaches and cream. It's you eat what you kill, and you have to go through the ups and downs of that journey. And even when I go overseas, sometimes that's why I try and really keep it 100% real on my social media of like, hey, I'm not posting pictures in like Ritz Carltons and like, like I pack a carry-on and a backpack and I bounce around and I sleep on, overnight trains, and I sleep in hostels next to dudes that are snoring all night. And like, it's not as sexy as people think. So, and it's also very different from someone that just says, hey, I want to be an agent, that doesn't really know much about it. Again, the similar way that I thought about it at first was like, it's a lot of it's just not that fun. It's like contracts. It's, it's sometimes babysitting. It's dealing with egos. It's, it's figuring out, the decision makers, where if you're not overseas and you haven't been there in person, like you're never going to get that relationship to a genuine level that you could if you go and shake their hand in person. And there's a lot, especially overseas, there's just a lot of unregulation, or I guess it's deregulated, however you want to phrase it. It's, they have FIBA and they have the governing body, but that's the same governing body that represents coaches, players, agents, and clubs. So it's kind of a 30,000 foot view conflict of interest. They obviously have, FIBA BAT that just solves those disputes. But again, we're going on a tangent now. So it's just, it's very different than you think. Now, if you put in, like anything else, if you put in the work, and you're patient and you surround yourself with the right people and you do the right things over the long term, you're going to succeed. And that's kind of where I'm at in that journey, right? It's like kind of like right in that middle.
Right. So that's a perfect segue into now that I appreciate you entertaining us during that segment, and it kind of leads to what's next and what's going on. And I know you have your own agency, KTA or Kreation Talent Agency. I hope I'm saying that correct.
Yep.
And I'll go ahead and put your social media there below. But speak to that. What's next? I know we're kind of going through a global pandemic right now, and so what does that look like as we're trying to figure out things?
It definitely was a tough year. I think tough year for anyone. I mean, if you're I don't care what industry you were in, if you're not pivoting or rethinking your strategy, then you're going to fall behind. And when you have a global pandemic that shuts down most of the world for 6 months, then you're going to have to do things differently. So from that standpoint, a recruiting standpoint, it definitely hurt a bit. But right now I'm just taking it one day at a time. I mean, there's going to be ups and downs, but we're going to keep battling through it. And I'm lucky and blessed enough to have the support system around me, both emotionally and financially, to where I can keep doing it. I can keep investing in myself, and that's kind of the risk that I'm willing to take. And
Yeah.
I'm just taking it one day at a time to keep learning, keep
Yeah.
serving my clients as best as I can, keep finding a way to get it done. And really the next step is, figure out how to continue to become sustainable, because it's very difficult business to become sustainable in. And, you kind of find out after a little while that, I know you mentioned it before, which was much appreciated, but, I'll be the first to tell you that hard work only goes so far. Like,
Right.
you can be the hardest worker out there, but we live in a results-driven society.
Facts.
Right? A results-driven society means that you can be the hardest worker in the world, but you can still fail. And you can be the laziest worker in the world, and you can still somehow get it done. If you get results, get it done. So, I'm trying to balance that effort-based society versus that results-based and results-driven society, right? So there's got to be a balance between the two, and now it's just keep knocking on doors until I find that right one that that brings those right results. So I would just say, same goals, new day. That's what's next for me.
Right. And so I'm glad you brought that up with the sustainability and the relevance. And I know you just mentioned before that you kind of speak to false reality of being an agent and a client. And it sounds like there was something that in the works that you're putting together. Do you want to, for the audience that are listening, you want to go ahead and let them know kind of, what you're putting together and where they can find it, or
definitely. So a lot of those details are still being kind of fine tuned, but I'll definitely have it on my social media. It's just at Kevin Tarca, and kevintarca.com. I have a lot of blogs about it. Just a lot of content about the reality of really peeling back the curtain and seeing what life is like behind the doors of behind the closed doors of what an agent does. But I'll definitely be pushing it out on there. But like I said, it's going to be the beginning of just a 30,000 foot view, like becoming an agent 101 or becoming a pro 101. What does it take to get the job done? If you want to be a pro, what do you have to do? If you want to be an agent, what is that really like? What, contracts 101, recruiting, how do you recruit? What's the investment period like? What happens when there's a dispute? All these different topics are going to be covered. And each one of them can go into, a 3-week deep dive, right? But it's going to be, one step at a time for anyone that thinks that they, have what it takes to be an agent, or they have an interest in it at all, or just want to learn more. It's going to be something that, you can kind of, just be a part of and take online, and there's going to be some interaction and some guests and some live stuff. And, my hope is that I'll be able to, exceed the value that you expected in the course, and help you determine whether that's the right path for you, or, there's certain tweaks that you can do to kind of take a left or a right and still have that, fulfill that passion of basketball or becoming an agent, whatever whatever you think it is. So,
and that's awesome that you're putting it together, because that's worth its weight in gold, or whatever it means to you, because we talked about your experience and what you went through, and to figure out where and where you were at today. And so there's great value to that, that where if I don't know and I come to you and you break it down, man, that's going to be worth a lot. I don't have to, go through the grit and the grind per se, and find out what works and what doesn't, to a degree. Right. And so that's amazing that you're paying it forward, man, and putting that together and making it available for those that do want to reach out. So for those that are listening that do have interest in being an agent, or hiring Kev as an agent, definitely, social media is there. Reach out to him. Great guy, high integrity guy. So, I definitely wish you the best with that. And so, before we conclude this week's episode, quick question. If we were to retire your jersey today, right? I got this wall back here. We want to put your jersey up. What would the number be on the back of the jersey, and what would be a nickname that was either given to you or even a self-proclaimed, or if you have a mantra that you have?
I like it. So the number would definitely be 33. Nice. That just happened to be the number I wore in high school and in college. Yeah. I think it originally came from Larry Bird, but I just love the number 3. It happened to be my lucky number, so might as well throw it on there twice, right?
Same here, bro. Same here.
And the nickname on the back, I mean, I don't really have a nickname, but one that was used in college very often was Tarca time.
Target time. I like it. I like it.
Because at the end of games, you know, like as I mentioned, now it's a walk on, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't really play much unless we were up or down by a lot. So
Right.
if it was one of those cases, you know, at the end of
Yeah.
halftime or at the end of the second half in the games,
Right.
they would just start the chant of Tarka time, like it's time for, you
Nice.
know, for Kevin
Nice.
to get in the game. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of stuck actually with a lot of my friends. So
Yeah.
I kind of get called that a lot. But yeah,
Well,
man, that's cool. I
yeah,
like that
we're gonna run
question.
with that. We're gonna run with that. I
All
like
right,
that. So
cool.
33, and it's Target time, baby.
I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
that's nice. That's nice. So, this concludes this week's episode of Hardwood Confession. And thanks for watching. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe, as well as hit the notification bell for the next week's episode of Hardwood Confession. Again, my name is Tay. I'm your host. And again, Kevin, appreciate you coming out.
I keep them all guessing. Game 5 and I'm shooting like Stephen. And I'm full court pressing. That's a Hardwood confession.
Steal it. Here comes Chicago. 17 seconds. 17 seconds from game 7 or from championship number 6.